Hello and welcome back to Soulstar Radio. I'm Jacquelene Closemore, coming live to you from South Yarra in Melbourne. This is my little shop behind me. It's just off Toorak Road, which is kind of a groovy place to be. It's not actually really, like people go, oh, Toorak Road. No, there's just some really cool people here. We're kind of pretty casual with each other. We're not sort of, I guess, as some people outside would sort of expect. It's kind of a posh area, a bit up here, but not really, because most people here that I've met that own businesses are, they're small business, they're living out in the suburbs somewhere, they're pretty down to earth. But in the meantime, today is a special day in the US, and yesterday was a special day in Australia, and it's a special day today in Australia because the sun's shining, so that's kind of good. But Valentine's Day. What is that with all that chocolate? I love the Japanese ladies who've decided to buy themselves chocolate. We know what that's like, ladies. It's sort of this thing in Japan where women have been expected to go and buy the men chocolate, like if they're a crush or if they're someone that she's working with or someone she loves, it's like, buy him some chocolate. And it's like, what? So all these Japanese women, go on them. They go, no, I'm putting that chocolate on me. Whether you are in love, out of love, in love with yourself, having a special relationship with God, or any of the deities, goddess, let's not forget that part. May you have a happy day today or yesterday, as it might be, in case we feel like time travel in Australia. Love is an interesting sort of topic because it's often coming up, with a lot of our callers. And so there can be different stages of love, like does he love me? Does she love me? Are we going to get back together? Are we going to get married? This sort of thing. And I think, I've been talking a number of shows since the start of this year about remembering to love yourself first, because it's really important that you're coming from that space of being kind to you. Certainly for women in Western society over the last, number of decades and hundreds of years, and good on those suffragettes. It's been this expectation that we're going to pick up and clean up and, we're going to do the loving, we're going to do the caring, we're going to do the organising. And, as women in, Western society raising children, often that's been the case where that's been the role. She's been the mother. But with the times we're now in, women are very much, also very much in their careers, very much, deciding to have their own independence. And so, just don't forget to, if you're in a situation of feeling like you're a bit overwhelmed, you've got a lot going on, you're looking after a lot of people, be you man, woman or otherwise, just remember to look after yourself first, because if you love yourself, it's easy to love others. If you love yourself and you're putting boundaries up, it's very easy to, remain open-hearted to that other person because you're saying what is and is not okay. You're expressing what you want and what you feel, and it's being able to express with each other that, is really one of the key components of a lasting relationship, is that ability to be really open and honest with each other. And so, I sort of want to start by saying that. Now, we've got a caller waiting on the line, and I just also want to say hello to those wonderful people that are watching. We've got Connie, Laurie, Daniel. Hi, Daniel. And we've got Tish. Hi, all of you, and everyone else who's watching and maybe not typing, or possibly watching on the podcast in another time dimension after this show. With that, I'm going to get to our first caller. We have Judy in Knoxville, Tennessee, in the USA. Are you there, Judy?
Yes, I am. Hi.
Hello and welcome to the show. It's lovely to hear from you.
Thank you.
You're a very strong lady. I can hear it in your energy and your voice there. And I really feel that you tend to be very compassionate with people. It's just sometimes you can sort of be sitting there going, can't believe I'm listening to this. It can be sort of sometimes when you can be very quietly and politely not believing what you're hearing with some of the people that you're dealing with, but you're still coming from that compassionate angle. I love the way you deal with that. Now, what I do when I'm getting right into a reading is I'll use the date of birth to tune in. Stops me from kind of picking up way too much from people in the supermarket, if you know what I mean. Now, can I start with your date of birth for that reading at all?
Yes, it's 11/22/1955.
So I've got 1955 and I've got an 11 there. What was the other part?
Oh, okay. It's November 22nd.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that. I really feel you do get dragged sometimes between pillar to post, between the different emotions you'll be feeling about how to deal with the situation when it comes to more the emotional, the family, the intimate relationship stuff. When you're in a work situation, you know exactly what you're doing and you go right for it, and there's really no stopping you when you're doing that. But more on the home front, that's where the emotions can get a bit tongue-tied, as it were. And I feel you'll weigh things up a lot before making a final decision, in your life and in how you're going to deal with things, and it's always coming from this consideration of how something's going to affect everyone else first. There's also the ability to see right through people's stories and see what's really going on for them, and I think you pick people quite well when you're sitting with that intuitive instinct with people. You're also very sensitive on an emotional level, and so things take a while sometimes to really hit you, but when they do, it sort of goes through your whole system. It can be either a really beautiful thing or a bit like a shockwave sometimes. So it's like you have to remember to always be a bit kind to you, particularly this year, because 2019 for you, as we go through that year, we're still tidying up a lot of stuff around finances and tidying up a lot of stuff around family. And I get the words, about what you want. And I was talking a little bit about that when we came into the show. But it is also about, what is in store for your life, your wants, your needs, your desires, where you're driving things for you, not just everyone else, going forward. So this year, you're coming into what's called a 9-year numerologically. And so energetically, what we're dealing with there is, that sorting of wheat from chaff, that sorting of what we want versus what's happening. And so having to kind of really assess what we're going to take forward with us and what we're going to leave behind in sort of a great way. And I do feel there's a need to, have that playful side of you much more at the moment. You've been very duty-bound for a very long time. And so this emphasis on play, on, doing things that make you happy is the more important thing at this point. But let's go into the area you want me to cover for you today, darling, or a question you have.
Oh, okay. Well, am I going to be moving?
Yep, I feel so. I just can't tell you if that's months or if it's up to a year from now. I just feel moving makes sense to me with you. I would say to you that, the move that you are making is not out of a sense of, desperation or worry or concern. It's actually a really good move, and it's being able to break the shackles free. And I feel like I'm going into a more streamlined way of living, more, it's like less waste or less bother, less hassle, less clutter. It just feels very streamlined. I seem to be using the word streamlined a bit here. And so it's more about you being able to really feel like you can breathe more easily and just go out the door and do the things you're wanting to do, rather than, I'm stuck in here having to fix stuff. That's the sort of feeling I get with this move that I would see coming up, if that makes sense to you.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really good one. It's been overdue, and I feel like we're really doing that sorting of wheat from chaff that I was talking about before. It's like we're getting the issues into the right space. We're getting your energy so that it can shift. You've been doing a lot of shifting emotionally and energetically, and you're going from strength to strength in this move, and it's going to be a very harmonious situation where you're going to be living. So it's actually going to be really nice for you. So it's not going to be fraught with all of the heavy sort of duty aspects or here we go again, that you've had in the past. It's you time. So I'm excited about that, because it's about time you kind of are able to have that. And sometimes we can find that in desiring to have space for ourselves, that we might, in the moment of getting that space for ourselves, go, hang on, bit quiet in here. And then, boom, everyone sort of is right there sharing the space with you as, when, and how you're happy doing so. So, that's the themes I'm seeing for this move that you're having, and how good it's actually going to be at the other end of it, even though there can be a bit of back and forth on, is this right? Is that what I want to do? Is this right? Oh, hang on a minute. Let me just rethink that, because it can be a lot of thinking and rethinking that you'll tend to do. It's like you'll double back over things, and but once you do adjust into that new place, it's going to be really good for you. That's how I'm sort of seeing that.
Oh, good.
So you just got to kind of keep working on it, and you'll get there. So I hope that helps you today there, Judy.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Absolutely welcome. Feel free to connect through the Facebook page, Soul Star Radio with Jacquelene, if you need to inbox me at all to clarify what I've said, but that's how I'm kind of seeing that for you, and I really wish you the best. I'm going to go to our next caller. We have I'm going a bit quicker today. We've got Samantha in Osage Beach. That sounds like a fun place to be. Wonder how many mosquitoes there are. Anyway, that's in Missouri, USA. We have Samantha. Are you there, Samantha?
Yes, I am. Hello.
Hello, and welcome to the show. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for calling in. I'm really liking the sound of where you're living. I have no idea what that is like, but I really feel that you've learned to go with the flow quite a lot here in your life. And, okay, yep. And then you pick yourself back up again and go, right, okay, now this is what we're going to do, or that's how we're going to do it. Here's the process, da-da-da. And then you sort of get on with stuff rather than dwelling, and sort of sitting there and going, and woe is me. I'm not feeling the woe is me from you. It's like, okay, well, I can't fix what's been. It's already been. And I might obsess about it a little bit in my mind every now and again, but okay, let that go, and then we step forward again. That's how I'm kind of seeing you. So I feel like that's a lot of the times it's a way you can solve things. It's a way you can sit with how you're feeling about things. And it's also a way that you can then get yourself back out of things again. So I feel like you're incredibly resourceful, and I think that, the way that you process things really could teach a few people a lot on how to deal with the emotions. And sometimes to have to go back to that process and remember it yourself, though, because what we teach, we often both know really well and then have to remind ourselves just by the way. Now, was there a question or area you want me to look at for you today, darling?
Yes. I wanted you to look at, my finances. I want to know if my finances are going to change, but I also want to know if I'm going to make any friends here, because I don't know a soul here. I moved here for medical reasons, and only people I know are my medical professionals. I don't know anyone, and I get lonely, and I want to know if that's going to change.
That's really interesting, because the previous caller is about to move, and she's going to love the aloneness, but I totally get where you're at. It's like, yeah, this is getting a bit monotonous now. For you, I think this is actually a good move. I do feel that this is not the last move, even though that might seem that way at the moment. Wow. And what I'm sort of getting from this is that you are going to have the opportunity to meet people here, but it's like you do have to get out more to do that. And I do see a really interesting picket fence. It's like the wood on it has not been painted for a very long time, and it's about hip height. And I feel like that's a place I'm describing that it's like you get to meet new people there. So it's like going to a new place here that, well, obviously that's not you. The wood's very old, but it's like meeting new people, but it's like you're going to feel as if you've known them for a very long time. I think it's three of them. You're going to feel like you've known them for a very long time, but it's like you have to go outside of your normal surroundings to do that. And that doesn't mean having to leave town. It means going out and getting amongst, whether it's regular meditation meetings or whether it's getting out into sort of like craft classes or anything like that. But I'm feeling a sense of community around this as to how you meet these people. And, so it's like getting out into a community group or a community-run, event that has an interest group sort of issue to it that you all sort of contribute. There's a creative element to it, but you're also being, with people and getting to know them. I think the thing is that, you're a very friendly, warm, welcoming person when you feel safe. When you feel a bit out of your element, it's like, okay, I'm just going to close up a bit now, and I'm just going to, put those vibes there. It's like, oh no. So sometimes people can misunderstand that energy with you, because sometimes they'll see it in a different way that is not actually how you're intending it. It's not how you are. They're just going to see it as this kind of like a filter, and they're going, whoa, hang on. So in a way, what's happening here is they're seeing your fear as if they need to be fearful of you sometimes. This is not all the time, but sometimes that's happening, and it's like, so you'll sort of go, why do they look at me like that? No, that's why. So sometimes sometimes it's going to be better for you to approach it from the aspect of maybe even verbalizing, look, I'm stepping out of my comfort zone today, but hey, pleased to meet you. So if you're introducing yourself to a group, that might be a good thing to say is, I get a bit nervous, and that can actually help, because then people can go, oh, that's what that is. No worries. I think it's really important as well to keep working on your sense of self-worth and your sense of love for yourself here, and really nurturing to yourself, because that's going to help generate more of an energy that opens for you and opens you to other people and opens them to you, I think, in a lot of ways. And look, you're fine as you are. There are people that are going to really relate to you straight away. But where you've moved to, it is a little bit different to what you used to.
It's very different.
I sort of started by saying, I wonder how many mosquitoes are there. And I'm like, what am I doing thinking about mosquitoes? That's not an encouraging sign. I think there are actually interesting people there, but I think, like you, the interesting people you're going to vibe with are very much like you, and they're also going to feel, this is an interesting place. Even though they might have lived there all their whole life, they might sort of go, I just stick to myself a bit, and I can kind of understand that. It's like, because you can be at times outgoing, but you're largely an introvert with the way I'm sort of feeling this energy, and so are they. And, of course, what's the greatest way to get introverts together? Not so easily. I think getting out into the interest area that ignites you is going to really help with that. I feel like I can drive. I also feel like I can drive 15 minutes from where you are, and I can be like, wow, I feel like I'm in a different world now. I'm not quite where I was. And wow, I can relate to these people. It's going to be really great. So some of this is going to require a bit of maybe going out of town a slight bit, and that quirky house that I keep seeing that I don't think you live in, but it's an interesting place to go to where you can meet some people that both you and I would really relate to and have a lot of laughs with.
The house that you described belongs to someone I already know. So I was interested in that person. So that person is not in my life right now. So it sounds like you're telling me they're going to be coming back into my life.
I would say so. And you're going to feel like you really belong there. But it's great that actually you're having this time of separateness. But, shh. It's like you got to just, you just got to roll with this for now. And you'll know how to handle that when that comes up. That's not the only picket fence, though. I do think the interest groups are going to be very important for you to connect with. But, I am still seeing, as we speak, I'm still seeing that fence. I'm still seeing the house with it. And, I feel like I just sort of want to get in there with a pair of clipping shears at the moment. I feel like it's overgrown in some way, but at the moment. But, normally it's quite well looked after.
You're exactly right about the house, and that's how I feel when I go there. I feel like I want to go and cut down some of the trees and some of the stuff that's around it. So that you're describing someplace that I've already been to.
Yep. Yeah,
but I didn't think that I would ever go back there. I didn't think I would ever go. Yeah, I didn't think I would ever go back there again. I thought that situation was severed. It's amazing that you're describing this place again. So yeah, I'll know how to deal with it when it comes back up.
What we do right now is we breathe and relax, and we just go, right, well, I'm going to deal with today, and next week I'm going to deal with next week then, and the week after that I can probably deal with that then too. There's nothing quite like a plane trip or a car trip and, and then coming back again, and,
Right.
just sort of dipping the toe in the warm water as we see, and making sure there's no alligators, but also making sure we can see the bottom, but also is the temperature actually warm enough or cool enough, and is that what I want to get into? And so this time you're having right now is crucial, because there's nothing like a bit of absence to work out what you want to be present for and what kind of gifts you want in that moment, which we won't go into. So getting and meeting people where you are is actually crucial to the entire story wrapping itself up in one happy little box there. There's a lot of forgiveness required here, faith and forgiveness, and then freedom. I've got all the F's going. Isn't that hilarious? There's been a lot of change going on here through your move. It's been absolutely imperative. There's a lot of soul change, emotional change, all this sort of thing. I mean, you're not changing souls, that's the one thing, but you're changing how you're reflecting with your soul. And yep, and so, the cards going forward, I'm just laughing because they're all starting with F, and there hasn't been a lot of that going on. Sorry to say those words, but so you've been having to kind of just sit with yourself instead. So here are the cards here, which you'll be able to see in the, up to left, right. So you'll be able to see these cards on the podcast later. We've got faith, forgiveness, freedom, and fulfillment. So the N card is fulfillment. And so, of course, that's where I'm seeing this ending up. And you've actually in that card got two happy little butterflies. There they are, flying towards each other. And if I move them across the screen, they can sort of go other places. But, there's a lot of that fuchsia, pink and purple in the story, and so there's been a lot of having to get much more close to yourself in your own energy, and really clearing out the channels, and clearing out the emotions and clearing out the old ancestral karma here, and trauma. And so that's going through the physical body, through limbic and lymphatic system. So it's all going through. And, that's what you're clearing out. And I'm really glad that you're taking that time to work on here, because that's actually going to be a large part of this story, because the sorts of things you used to put up with, well, thank God you're not doing that anymore. It's this real kind of sense of, getting that right. And when wanting to love someone else, first love thyself. And, on the spiritual and magical path, when we're coming into learning magic, it's first know thyself, because if you know yourself, you know what you feel, you know what you like, you know what is and is not in harmony with you, but also you then know who's projecting what, like through the words, through their actions, through your words, through your action, and going, oh, I didn't realize I was doing that. Whoops. So, it's been a lot, darling. So that's why this period of doing that stuff is actually vital for you. It's really, really helpful. And that's why, what I'm seeing, and I'm seeing that as a future thing, not a past thing. So, it's a touch of the past reaching into the future, but it's very much a story of that reconnecting, and the stories changing so that they're not the blaming stories. They're actually really positive, nurturing stories that did it, ahead in the future here. So you just got to keep, with yourself, which is very different to being by yourself, because if you're alone, you're not with anyone. And, so people go, oh, she's alone. Oh, okay. But if you say, well, actually, I went out on a date with myself to the restaurant, people might look a bit strange, but that's actually a very healthy thing to do at this point for you. So, having absolute calmness and even maybe a sense of pride, not spiritual pride, that's not today's subject, but just that sense of, I'm owning this, and taking yourself out on dates, taking yourself to the movies, taking yourself to that community group thing I'm talking about, and getting amongst that is going to be absolutely crucial for you. It's going to make a massive difference in your life, and I hope that helps you, my darling. Their finances will sort themselves out.
You've confirmed everything that I was already intuitively feeling. So thank you so much for your reading.
And keep listening to that intuition of yours. It's very strong. It's why you've not only known to move where you are for medical reasons, but also intuitively, I know this place will help me even though it's a bit strange.
Right.
Love it and live it well. It will do wonders for you, and I really wish you the best there, Samantha. Thanks so much for calling in. So thank you to our callers today for validating. And also thank you everyone for watching, listening, and I'm sorry we can't get to all the readings in one hit. It would possibly make me spontaneously combust, which, while that could make great TV, is probably not all that healthy considering I'd be dead afterwards. But anyway, there are more readers on tonight. You're going to have a lot of fun with them, and I hope you can stay with us on A1R Psychic Radio. In the meantime, I'm going to fly off into the distance, get on with my day, doing readings and healings for people, and I'm going to wish you a happy Valentine's, whether you are alone, in love, out of love, or somewhere else. Don't feel pressured to be in a relationship if you don't want to, but for those who are, mwah, as well. So lots of love to everyone. Catch you next week. Bye!